I have played a lot of Ironman Byzantium starts, and I mean a lot. And within those Byzantium starts, I found a really strong, clean, unknown Byzantium strategy that is better than any other Byzantium strategy that you have seen so far. You can try to trap all of the Ottoman troops in Cephalonia, but that requires you to let yourself be sieged down by the Ottomans fully and have insane amount of war exhaustion. Or you could try to recruit a lot of mercenaries, try to snipe that fort in Gelibolu and then trap the Ottomans on the Anatolian side. But that would cost you a lot of money and would need a lot of luck for the Ottomans to not go back too early, because otherwise you are screwed. You could of course also start as the Ottomans, release and play as Byzantium, but that would of course disable all the Byzantium achievements, as well as would be really devastating thing to do for the roleplay. That is why I have worked out a 99% reliable Byzantium strategy, where you don't need to rely on trapping the Ottomans, you don't need to heavily rely on mercenaries, you won't take a single loan, you will outnumber the Ottomans 3-1 and therefore totally destroy the Ottomans by 1457, and I mean totally destroying the Ottomans, as well as owning almost the entire Balkan side of the Ottomans, as well as half of Anatolia by 1460, and all of that is so easy that even a beginner EU4 player could do it. I'm the student and I present you the defensive destruction of the Ottoman Empire as Byzantium in 1.36 King of Kings. Now, as with every Byzantium start, you still have to do a lot of things without even unpausing the game to set up the first war with Epirus and your economy to be at least a little bit better. And I'm not going to talk about everything that I'm going to do in detail. That's why I made a detailed list that I put in the video description. So if you want to know what the things are exactly that I do in this starting setup, including the states interactions and so on, then just have a look on the video description, and I'm just going to do that right now real quick, and we're going to see when I'm done with it. Okay, that's everything you need to do. Keep in mind, as you probably noticed, I play on hard difficulty, which means that this strategy will work for everyone that plays on hard or normal or lower than that from difficulty. But if you play on hard difficulty, then you need to keep your cavalry for 1 month, because otherwise you won't be able to ally Serbia because of the army strength modifier. After that, you can, of course, or should delete that, as it costs you way too much money to maintain that. Then, before you start the war with Epirus, you should actually think about what nations you want to ally. And I would recommend you to go for Muscovy, and I also would recommend you to go for Hungary, because even if Hungary is not rival to the Ottomans, as in this case, you can rival Venice, and Hungary will always rival Venice if they don't rival the Ottomans, and that means that you can easily royal marriage them, and then with the ticking modifier, relations modifier of enemy, that also will give you 20 reasons to ally them in the if it ticks up to the maximum, which means that you can then ally Hungary in every game. If they rival the Ottomans, then it's much easier. Now you can of course think about maybe trying to get Austria or something. You can try that. If you're not playing on hard difficulty, you might even get that. But I've made the experience that they don't flip friendly, like never, which means that you can't really rely on Austria that much, and that's why I will go for Muscovy and Hungary, and later Georgia for the mountains, of course. And that is also why I'm going to now unpause and let my diplomats come back so that I can already start improving relations with them for 1 month tick. But keep in mind that you want to get that diplomat back before the 12th of December, so as you can see right away after the month tick, because then you need 2 diplomats, 1 to declare war on Epirus and 1 to ally Serbia. And if you get this event of the Council of Florence, then just keep the Union of Churches privilege, because otherwise you won't be able to ally any Catholic nations. And if you keep that privilege while you're at war with the Ottomans, then you get like really nice events that give you money and monarch points from time to time. Then of course transport your units, your mercenary units over to Athens as well. As on the 12th of December, as I promised, have a look if they have a ally, if Epirus has an ally. Sometimes in like 5% of the games or so they had an ally, like the Pope or something, which is actually a reason to restart, but as I said, it's like a 5% chance, so don't worry about that. And as I said, first of all, ally Serbia. And after you ally Serbia, you can actually get rid of the cavalry units. And keep in mind that you want to wait for 150 relations before clicking that mission to maximize your chances of getting 250 or 150 ducats from Serbians. And click this mission whenever you want to. Don't wait for the paper state, it's not really worth it. And then, as I said, on the same day declare war on Epirus, where you of course want to wait for your mercenaries to come and then go straight in and siege them down, as well as stop maintaining for your foreign Constantinople. You don't need that. And after your diplomats came back, start improving with those nations again that you want to ally. Sometimes, as in this case, Georgia even wants to royal marriage you without even improving relations. Otherwise, you would just improve with them. In this case, I'll just do the royal marriage straight away. And then that's also the point of managing your merchants. You want to get the hostile trading policy in Constantinople, you're going to see in a second why, and the established communities in Crimea, because as you can see, even with the royal marriage, you need to improve relations with Georgia anyways. And whenever you can, try to fight the navy of Epirus, because you might capture some ships from them, and those ships would be really helpful, but not necessary at all. Then, as I said, as soon as you have 150 relations with Serbia, click that mission over here and ask them for money, which is by far the best option out of those 3. And if you have more than 150 relations and an ally or friendly attitude, then you have like a 65% chance that they will give you 250 ducats, around a 20% chance that they will give you 150 ducats, and less than 10% chance that they will give you less than that, so 50 ducats or nothing. So it is really worth it to wait for the relations to be over 150. And then after a few months, it is actually time to see the alliance setups in Anatolia. So you want to see basically directly Dulkadir and Kanda. And if Kanda has a really strong ally, in this case I would not consider the Great Horde as a really strong ally, because I won't be really threatened by them coming over to fight me. But sometimes Kanda allies the Mamluks or something. In most cases I had the experience that they ally Crimea, which is actually perfect, because yeah, the Crimea is of course a little weaker than the Great Horde, but still a pretty decent ally, which will prevent the Ottomans from attacking Kanda first, but will still be able to defeat Kanda. And also you want to have a look if Dulkadir has a really strong ally, because sometimes Dulkadir gets the Great Horde as an ally, which will prevent then the Ottomans from attacking Dulkadir, which would be not that good as well. And the base thing that you want to see there is if Kanda is allied to a really strong nation, typically the Mamluks, that is actually a reason to restart. But that happens very rarely. In my games that had happened 2 times out of like 20 games. And there we go, I've just got 150 ducats from Serbia. And that is the moment where you need to have a look on Serbian rivals, because sometimes, as you can see in this case, they rival Hungary, which gives you a negative 25 reasons for Hungary to ally you, which means that if that happens, you need to get rid of the Serbian alliance, at least until you get the alliance with Hungary. And then as soon as you get the province of Arta sieged down, as I said, try to capture some ships from them. In this case I even captured 2 transport ships, which is a really nice one. But yeah, then you obviously want to wait for one of your diplomats to be ready and peace them out immediately for taking your core province back, getting them as a vassal, force religion, get the full money, and whatever else extends the prestige that you get from that peace deal. Then peace him out as a vassal, and that, if you let 1 month, 1 day tick by even, that lets you then rival the Ottomans. As well as it gives you a 75 Diplo power from this mission, which is also really nice. Now, as you have a diplomat free in this month anyways, you can also already scorn for insult a rival of the Muscovites, which will bring them over 100 relations even before the year 1446. And then of course it will be possible for you to ally them later if they flip friendly. And also you can do the same thing on Hungary if you want to. In this case I will let this 1 month go by with improving, and then I'm going to get the diplomat from Georgia back, because I can ally them now. There we go. And after I'm done with that, I'm going to also scorn for insult my rival Venice, which is also the rival of Hungary, so they get 25 more relations, which lets you be able to royal marriage Hungary, and therefore be very close already to ally them. And you can see I've already 5 reasons for common rival. That is because I have 11 out of 20 of enemy reasons. And of course I have another 44 relations that I can improve with him. As I see that Georgia is a militarist, it also works if he is the medium thing, administrator, then he will desire those lands, which means that I can then call him into a war against Kanda, which means that the Great Horde will probably have big issues sieging down those mountain forts of Georgia. And that's why I'm going to build a spy network on Kanda, and there you can see where the hostile trading policy really pays off. as I'm getting 1.8 spy network each month. And there goes the first war of the Ottomans, as expected, with Dulkadir. And you can see that Dulkadir is allied to Shirvan, which means that they will move over to Shirvan first before appeasing him out, which gives me a little bit more time to get my alliances set up. But you really want to get those alliances as soon as possible. I would recommend you to go for the Palace Guard, because that won't actually bring you over the force limit, as it of course doesn't count as force limit. And then of course transport it over to Constantinople, which also will then increase your army strength, relative army strength, to Hungary. There we go, -2. Which means that I could wait 2 more months, or just in this case get the Diplomats advisor and ally Hungary right now, right away. As well as you can see, royal marriage Muscovy. Now it is really unlucky what happened here, and I don't really know why, but they did not flip friendly until now. Okay, so it was definitely a bug, because I just reloaded the game and they flip friendly within 1 month. So if they don't flip friendly until like June, July 1446, so I'm already 1 year over, then just reload the game, because that definitely helps to fix the bug. And in this case I have only lost like 1 or 2 months, because I couldn't ally Hungary anyways earlier than that. And that is now the moment to actually fight Kanda. Basically there are 2 options how you can actually fight Kanda. Of course you want to call in Georgia, especially if they have an ally such as the Great Horde. But also you want to see if you have captured some transport ships, which I have in this case. But if you have not, and if you have only 6 transport ships, then you have to do a little trick. In this case they have only 5,000 troops. But I'm going to show you that little trick right now, because the Ottomans are anyways sieging down Shirvan still. How you can land with even 6 transport ships, declare war on them with calling in Georgia, and immediately try to land. You see, they will try to, normally they often actually have also like 7,000 troops. They will try to catch you over there, and they will of course catch you. But in this case, as they have only 5,000 troops, they are simply running away, which is kind of weird. But anyways, now that means that I have to explain it to you without showing it. Basically the idea is, if they have 7,000 troops, just fight them with the landing penalty, then retreat back and take your fresh units on the ships again and land again on them. And what then is going to happen, that he's going to have low morale and low reinforcements of course, and he's just going to move off, and with your second army then you can land on this province of Kassamou over here, which lets you then land all of your units after you occupied it. And the Ottomans just pieced out Shirvan, which means that they will now fully annex Dulkadir over here. And I'm really interested to see what they're going to do after that. There we go, full annexation. Okay, I can already see that they're placing their troops over here in Anatolia already, which means that they are probably going to take war on someone very soon. I'm just delaying that siege a little bit, because if I siege that down, then they won't declare war on them. And there we go, the Ottomans just declared war on Kanda, and in the same moment I actually sieged down Sinope, which is really nice. But anyways, now as they attacked Kanda, I now need to get out of this war really quick. Now the Ottomans are also at war with the Great Horde and Ramazan, which means that the Ottomans will probably get rid of most of their troops anyways, so I can theoretically just wait for that. And also, by the way, there are 9,000 troops that are trapped on Cephalonia right now, so really interesting thing as well. But of course, as I have the occupation of Sinop and Kastamonu, I can now do whatever I want with this peace deal as soon as the Great Horde gets out of the war. And I could already piece Ramazan out, and actually I'm going to do that, and I'm just going to take that province because it's of course a really nice province that I want to take in the long term anyways. And actually it's the perfect situation that I get this event right now, because if the Ottomans are at war, that really gives them problems with fighting rebels, and as such I'm actually going to demand the tribute from the Ottomans for not releasing the relative of Mehmed over here as pretender, and there is like a 33% chance that they will give me actually 100 ducats, which is also really nice. And then there is a 66% chance that they will not pay it, and I can then release 21,000 pretender rebels in their capital, which, as they are at war and half of their army is in the Great Horde, they won't be able to fight them, and as such his ruler is going to get abdicated 2 years after they control the capital. As this game wouldn't have been unlucky enough, they actually paid me money. Yeah, as I said, the money is fine as well, but of course, yeah, getting his ruler abdicated would be hurting them way more, but anyways, it is what it is. And there we go, I've even got the occupation of the Great Horde's capital. As I said, the Great Horde is not a big of an enemy as you think it would be with 20,000 troops. I can of course piece them out now and even take war reps and money from them, which is a lot of money. I'm of course getting not everything of that, but anyways, quite a nice amount. As well as whatever, just break one of their alliances with Uzbek or something. And there we go. This is the 99% peace deal with Kanda, as well as soon as I piece that war out, my units will be black flagged. But now comes the real interesting part. Not only did I get that province extra way earlier into the game than you would normally expect it to get, and not only did I get a lot of money actually from fighting the Great Horde, which is really nice, but also I can now of course take one province, because why not, and then vassalize Kanda, take money, end their rivalry, whatever. Georgia won't even be mad, as you can see, and piece them out for being my vassal. And that of course brings me in instantly into the war with the Ottomans and into a defensive war with the Ottomans, which means that I can now call in Hungary, call in Muscovy, and call in Georgia even, which means that now I'm fighting with more people on the same side. And funnily enough, even the Great Horde that I just pieced out is now fighting in the same war that I am now in control of. And that means that I'm actually outnumbering the Ottomans 3-1. And that means that in this huge war where the Ottomans basically fight all of Eastern Europe, as you can see, I don't have to do a single thing theoretically. I can just stand around. Yeah, I have to, of course, try to fight his fleet, as you can see. But I don't have to try desperately for trapping them on an island. I don't have to recruit 1,000 of Merc companies. I don't have to try rushing that fort fast enough. I can just let my allies do the work and I'll be done within 2 years easily. And on top of that comes, of course, that I've got 3 additional provinces in Anatolia that the Ottomans otherwise would have taken if I just let them do their thing on the Anatolian side. Including one trade center in Constantinople, which I can actually get immediately to use with just diverting trade from Kandar. Okay, really interesting thing just happened, because even though you are in a defensive war, you can still, of course, as you can see, try to trap some of those troops of the Ottomans on Cephalonia. And in this case, they are going to attack me because I have low morale. Of course, they can't stack wipe me. And that means that as soon as I'm running away, those 12,000 troops over there, or even 14,000 troops if they fully reinforce, are now trapped as long as they not siege that down, and that gives me more than enough time to siege back Arta, and after that they will be fully trapped, and I'm fighting literally only against those 15,000 troops over here in Athens. I just reached the moment where the Ottoman have actually 0 troops left, 2,000 manpower left, and that is the moment that you would never reach in any case if you try to trap them on the island and fight them alone, because you will never be able to win a battle against them, and therefore they will always have like 30-20,000 troops left. In this case they have literally no troops left. And just to remind you, I haven't taken a single loan in this entire campaign. I haven't even taken one. And you can see my balance is almost positive with all that looting and war reparations that I, by the way, also got from Akuyunlu and so on, which is a factor that you should not underrate if you think about playing this tactic. And of course I'm getting even more money and war reps from the Ottomans and from my mission that I'm getting over here, and I still have 160 ducats in my bank, so this is by far the easiest method, economically speaking, manpower speaking, and from the difficulty of the war speaking, it is by far the easiest one. And if you have a look on their scoreboard, then you can see that they have already taken 6 loans, and this will be more coming. And as I occupied all of Anatolia right now anyways, including the 4 of Kandar, which otherwise you wouldn't have, I can now reach 50% trade power in Constantinople, even though this Genoese colony is active. And that wouldn't be possible without that trade center of Kandar, which is another reason for this tactic to being the best tactic of Byzantium, because you can now integrate Galata, giving you 4 development in Constantinople, as well as losing the conditional modifier, no Galata colony modifier anymore. Okay, there we go. I have 21 spy network on Wallachia, which means that now is the time to recall those diplomats from those 2 nations and make the peace deal. But this is not the end, because deleting all of their armies and all of their fleet and fully occupying them without having them any allies remaining gives you the unique opportunity to do a war directly after this one. Now is the time to talk about the war goal. The war goal is conquest of Sinope. That means that reconquest CBs, as you can see, takes the Diplo points. And that means, as I have still a lot of cores left, as well as my subject Kandar also has 2 cores left, it is not really worth it to take all of my cores. But of course you want to complete this mission over here, which means that you need to get 5 more provinces. And I'm going to get 5 more provinces with including both 4s, 1, 2, 3, for 5 over here. Now I don't need anything else from that basically except Silistra over here to connect to Wallachia to make a claim, as well as all the force on the Anatolian side. And actually I have to take this 4 as a colony because I can't really afford taking anything else. But I will then also take the province of Avalonia over here in Albania and the province of Tolchu to cut them fully off of the European side basically, as well as I'm going to fill that up with a little bit of money where I get at least 80 ducats off, and that is going to be the peace deal right now. There we go, you can see already pretty nice borders on the expansion side. Of course the name placement has to improve a little bit. And now I can also take the additional money as well as the claims and the recovery of Greece, which especially the war exhaustion monthly is really helpful, as well as the power projection on the long term. Now I can also rival the Ottomans and I can get a claim on Wallachia. And you can see the Ottomans didn't go bankrupt, even though they have a lot of loans, of course. But that means that as soon as I get the CB, as you can see, there we go, I can now go into the Ottomans again. And I can even call Hungary because they desire land of Wallachia. You could even promise them land and just give it to them because you just want to separate peace the Ottomans. And there we go, we are at war with the Ottomans again, and you can also see that I've placed a lot of troops around here because I of course want to carpet siege the Ottoman country as fast as I possibly can, including the Anatolian side of course, as well as getting the occupations of his capital started. And yeah, I still get those 2 events through this one from getting basically my provinces connected, and this run from taking the province of Kocelli. I did of course get 50 Diplo power and prestige. Now the Ottomans of course will try to rebuild their troops, which is actually good for you because they are wasting manpower and money, and you can simply go in and stack wipe those small units, as of course they have no chance by getting outnumbered 2 to 1. And now that the Ottomans are down to 900, not 900,000, 900 troops again, and I really can't find where they are. It doesn't really matter, that is now the time to piece them out the second time within just 1 year and like a few months, right? And because he didn't have any force and I could just carpet siege him. And as this is a non-co-belligerate war with the Ottomans, it is not worth it to fill the full war score with provinces. It is way more effective to fill the full war score with money, because it keeps being 25% if he is co-belligerated or not, as well as the war reparations for the same reason. And then you can start connecting your lands if it is possible. As you can see, in this case it is really not that easy, and in this case I'm just going to take 1 less money to have prettier borders over here and piece them out. You're going to notice there is a small coalition, but keep in mind I have a truce with Akkoyunlu and with the Ottomans, which means that 3 nations won't be enough to join the coalition or to build the coalition. And now I'm getting only 260 ducats from that, but this is still totally fine. You could of course have done it by yourself if you feel competent enough for that, but this was the safer way to do it, and that is the second war, in which you take 3 really valuable provinces as well as the war reparations that you did not take in the first war. There we go, and look at this beautiful Byzantium name placement already in 1456. And now if you have a look on 1 month basically on the Ottomans, or even 1 day, you can see that the Ottomans has gone bankrupt, which means that they lost -3 stability as well as a lot of prestige, set their prestige to basically -100, and what is most importantly, that you can see that they haven't taken the 5th dip or mill tech, and you keep in mind that if you go bankrupt, your monarch power is set to -100, which means that all the monarch power that they saved up to take those technology is now 100% lost, and more than that, they have even -100 mana points right now, which means that they won't recover at any time until you can attack them again with the bankruptcy is over, and then attack like Ragusa, for example. So that will be no problem at all to deal with this Ottomans right now. And now, as I actually don't care about Wallachia, I could of course full annex them and release them as a march or something, but I don't care at all. I just take war reps and money from them as well, which gives me another 50 ducats. And I'm going to do it right now, because that means of course that I can now seize land again to, yeah, I've got some rebels of course, it doesn't really matter. But now most importantly, I can provoke the Bulgarian rebels, and as the Ottomans are bankrupt with 3,000 troops, they can't defend them, and therefore they will just defect in 2 years, and then I can go in and conquer all of that Bulgarian stuff as they break free. It's getting even worse for the Ottomans. They just got a peasants' war on top of their bankruptcy, which will for sure give their country the rest. And there just went Bulgaria. As you can see, on this day Bulgaria was released with 0 troops, 0 manpower almost, and there goes my war on them. I wanted to fight rebels over here, but it doesn't really matter. I'm going to do Bulgaria real quick first. And there goes Bulgaria, so obviously an instant full annexation with maximum amount of money that can go into the war score, which is 117 ducats. And even though the name placement is really bad right now, you can of course on the diplomatic map mode see that I own already half of Anatolia, and except for my 3 cores that I left, the entire Ottoman European side in 1463, which is really nice already. I haven't taken a single loan in my entire campaign. I am making money with even overextension right now. I have 500 ducats in my pocket, and the Ottomans are so totally destroyed that they are in a peasants' war currently, as you can see, have -1 stability still, -75 prestige, are still on tech 4 in Diplo and military because they lost all of their monarch points. They are no longer bankrupt, which means that I can now attack Ragusa in the next month and fight the Ottomans again, as well as Naples, which I of course need provinces of. So really perfect war declaration to go on with Ragusa. I was never low on manpower in this entire game. I am almost back to 30% crownland. I just need to seize after I got rid of my rebels. All of that in less than 20 years. So I really hope that you enjoyed this Byzantium strategy, because I think that it is definitely the best and most reliable Byzantium strategy that you can find in 1.36 King of Kings. And as always, we are going to see in the next video.